All right, let's talk about iOS. I find it incredible that through the end of March, we have already sold more than 365 million iOS devices. And what I find almost equally amazing is that more than 80% of our customers are running the very latest version of iOS, iOS 5. Now, if you compare that to the competition, they released a dairy product, 4.0, about the same time that we released iOS 5. And about 7% of Android customers are running the latest version, versus more than 80% the latest version of iOS, iOS 5. Now let me give you a quick update on a few of the features of iOS 5 that made it a great release, starting with Notification Center. Already, 84 of the top 100 social apps are pushing notifications. In fact, we're sending around 7 billion push notifications every single day. We've already sent more than 1.5 trillion, that is trillion, it's the first time I think we've seen this number up here, more than 1.5 trillion push notifications already. It's just amazing. Notification Center. Next is iMessage. We have more than 140 million iMessage users. They've sent more than 150 billion messages and are currently sending more than 1 billion messages every single day. Next is Twitter. We integrated Twitter directly into iOS 5. And they've already seen a 3 times growth increase from the number of people on iOS using Twitter. Those customers have sent more than 10 billion tweets from iOS 5, and nearly half of all the photos being shared with Twitter's photo sharing service come from iOS 5. It's a great integration. Next is Game Center. Game Center is a great gaming network. We have more than 130 million people using it. They submit 5 billion scores every single week. And 2/3 of the top 100 games integrate with Game Center. And all of this results in some very, very satisfied customers. More than 75% of our customers check the top box for very satisfied, compared to less than 50% for the competition. Now, one of the reasons that our customers are so satisfied is that every single year since the original iPhone, we come out with a new OS full of great quality, amazing features. And this year is no exception, so I'm very happy to announce iOS 6. iOS 6 is a fantastic release. It has more than 200 new features, starting with some significant enhancements to Siri. I'll walk you through a few. Let's start with Siri. As you all know, Siri's only been out for 8 months and already does so much for you. You can send text messages, get all sorts of answers, set alarms, find out about the weather, make phone calls, create a reminder. For your kids, or my kids, you can just chat with it for a while. Siri is fantastic. But in these 8 months, Siri has been studying up and learning a lot more. So let me just go ahead and show you what Siri can do now in iOS 6. So here I have a phone running iOS 6. The first thing that Siri has learned in the last 8 months is all about sports. So you can ask questions like, what was the score of the last Giants game?
The Giants were downed by the Rangers yesterday. The final score was 5-0.
So this looks great. We have this great scoreboard. I have to say I like the scores against Texas a little better during the World Series. But great sports scores, ask of Siri. You can also ask about individual players like this. What is Buster Posey's batting average?
Buster Posey has a batting average of .290.
So you can see, you get player cards and player stats. It's very cool. You can also ask about standings. What are the National League standings?
Here are the standings for the National League.
So you can scroll down here, see the Giants there in second place. So Siri knows about baseball. Siri also knows about basketball. So I can ask, who is taller, LeBron or Kobe?
LeBron James appears to be slightly taller.
So you see these player cards. There's LeBron James, who is 6'8". If I scroll down to Kobe's card, 6'6". Now, it's not football season right now, but Siri also knows about football. So I can ask, when is the San Francisco 49ers' first game of the season?
The 49ers Packers game is September 9th, 2012, 1:15 p.m.
So the entire schedule right there is just awesome. So Siri knows about sports. Next up, Siri's learned a lot more about restaurants. So I can ask, find a great place for dinner.
I found 15 restaurants. 14 of them are fairly close to you. I've sorted them by rating.
So you can see we have a lot more information about restaurants now, the average price of a menu item, the type of restaurant. If I go ahead and choose one of these, I'll choose Millennium. You can see all sorts of information about the restaurant. We have maps here. We've partnered with Yelp, so you can see reviews right in here. Tap on that, and here's the reviews. And if you want even more information, just tap on any of these reviews, and it'll take you right to the Yelp app from the App Store. I'll go back. We've also partnered with OpenTable, so I can tap here to make reservations. Takes me again to the OpenTable app right from the App Store. You can choose a date, number of people, and make a reservation. It's that easy. So Siri knows a lot about restaurants now. Next up, Siri's become something of a movie buff. So you can ask all sorts of questions like, what movies are playing at the Metreon?
Okay, I found 8 movies at the Metreon.
So I can tell you what movies are playing. I'll go ahead and choose one, Marvel's The Avengers. You see, we've integrated with Rotten Tomatoes, so you can see ratings and reviews. You can even tap to watch the trailer right here in Siri.
War has started. And we are hopelessly outgunned.
So really, really cool. You can also ask questions about directors or actors. So I can say, show me movies starring Scarlett Johansson.
I found several movies starring Scarlett Johansson.
So to find current movies in the theater as well as previous catalog. Just fantastic. Let me show you one more thing Siri's learned, and that is how to launch apps. So now, you've all been creating incredible apps, and now it's so easy to get to them. If you're like me, I have hundreds of apps on my phone. Let's say I want to play a game. I can just ask Siri now. Play Temple Run. And it's just like that. And those are just a few of the things that Siri has learned in iOS 6. So before, Siri did so much, but now it's just incredible. Sports scores, so you can ask for football scores or basketball, both pro and college. You ask about baseball, hockey, also soccer. We do a lot of the leagues, including the English Premier League. So sports scores. You can ask about movies. You can launch apps, make dinner reservations. You can now tweet just by talking to your phone. And there's this thing we're calling eyes-free. Now, you've heard of hands-free before. Hands-free allows you to keep your hands on the steering wheel while you use your phone. Well, we want to integrate Siri even better with the car. And so we're working with a number of car manufacturers to enable you to use a button right on the steering wheel to bring up Siri. Now, since Siri can talk back to you, you don't need, and we don't light up the screen of the iPhone, so you can keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road and use Siri. Now, a number of auto manufacturers have already committed to delivering eyes-free Siri integration in the next 12 months. We are also taking Siri much more international. When we launched Siri, we launched it in English in the United States, Great Britain, Australia, and we had French and German. Recently, we added Japanese. And now, in iOS 6, we're adding English and French tuned for Canada. We are adding Spanish, tuned for Spain, Mexico, and the United States. We are adding Italian. For Switzerland, we're adding Italian, French, and German. We're adding Korean. 60 countries represented here. We're adding Mandarin, tuned for Taiwan, Cantonese, tuned for Hong Kong, and both Mandarin and Cantonese, tuned for mainland China. Now, as part of making Siri more international, we're now taking local search, which was US only in iOS 5, around the world. So you can now do local search even in China. And for the first time, we're taking Siri beyond the iPhone 4S, and we're bringing it to the new iPad. And these are just a few of the enhancements for Siri in iOS 6. Next, Facebook integration. We have been working very closely with Facebook to create the best Facebook experience ever on a mobile device. We are integrating Facebook right into iOS 6. You can now go to the Settings app and enter your username and password, and now you're ready to go. You don't need to re-log in when you go to an app from the App Store, including Facebook's app. We're also making it really easy to post to Facebook for many of our apps. So you can post photos from the Photos app, post about websites from Safari, post locations from Maps. You can talk about your favorite app, your own app in this case, from the App Store. You can talk about movies, TV shows, and movies from the iTunes Store. You can talk some smack from the Game Center. We've also integrated it right in with Notification Center, so anywhere you are, just drag your finger down from the top of the screen to reveal Notification Center, and you can tap to post to Facebook. And we've added Twitter right into Notification Center as well. We've also integrated Facebook with Siri, so you can just talk to your phone now to post to Facebook. And we've taken this deep integration and made it a public API, so it's easy for apps on the App Store to integrate with Facebook. But we didn't stop there. We've also integrated it with the App Store. So now you can like apps and see which apps your friends like. And you can also do that for the iTunes Store with music, TV shows, and movies. And if your friends are sharing, say, a phone number or an email address from Facebook, those will appear in your contact list now, right on your iPhone and your iOS devices. Also, your Facebook events will now appear in calendars along with birthdays. So we've taken a deep integration of Facebook right into iOS 6, and we've taken that same integration and brought it to the Mac. And that is Facebook integration. Next are some really nice enhancements to the phone app. Now, you've probably been in a meeting before where you receive a phone call and you can't answer it right then. And you wish it was easy to quickly text a message back to the person or be reminded to call them back later. Well, in iOS 6, there's a new control on the right-hand side of the incoming call, and if you slide that up, you get two new options. You can reply with a message or be reminded to call the person back later. If you choose reply with a message, just tapping on any of these buttons will send a text message or an iMessage right to the caller. And if you choose remind me later, you can be reminded in an hour. My favorite actually is the second one. Remind me when I leave. That'll set up a geofence around your current location. So when you leave the meeting or leave the building, your phone will pop up an alert reminding you to call that person back. So remind me later. Next up is something we're calling Do Not Disturb. Now, I can see many of you are like me, and you've been awakened in the middle of the night by a text message or a push notification or an unwanted phone call. And Do Not Disturb allows you to tell your phone not to bother you with such interruptions. Now, those push notifications and text messages, they'll still come to your phone. It just won't light up the screen or make a sound to wake you up. They'll be there for you in the morning. Now, you also, with Do Not Disturb, get fine-grained control over which phone calls you'll receive. So you can choose to receive no phone calls at all, or just phone calls from your favorites, or from a group that you create in your contact list. And if you choose this last setting here, repeated calls, if someone really wants to get a hold of you and they're persistent, they call you back within 3 minutes because it's an emergency, that second call will come through. So some great enhancements to the phone app. Next is FaceTime. FaceTime is the best way to have a video conference with someone. But there's one catch. It only works over Wi-Fi. So what happens if you're somewhere where there isn't Wi-Fi? Well, in iOS 6, we're enabling FaceTime over cellular. So if you have either a Wi-Fi or a cellular data connection, you can now have a FaceTime call. Also, we're unifying your phone number and your Apple ID. So if some people already know what's going to happen. So if someone calls you on your phone number with a FaceTime call, you can answer that call on your iPad or even your Mac. And we're doing the exact same thing with iMessage. So if someone says an iMessage to your phone number, you can receive that and reply on your iPad or your Mac. And that's FaceTime. Next up is Safari. Safari is the best and the most popular mobile web browser on the planet. About 2/3 of all mobile web traffic comes from Safari on iOS, and we are making it even better. As you heard earlier, we're adding iCloud tabs. So from, say, your iPad, you can see all of the Safari windows and tabs that are open on any of your other iOS devices or your Macs. We're also adding offline reading list. So in iOS 5, we added reading list, which is a great way for you to save a story, a web story away, to read it later. And now, as soon as you add it to the reading list will download and cache the story, so you can go and read that even if you later don't have internet connectivity. We're also adding the ability to upload photos right from Safari to your favorite websites. We're adding something we call Smart App Banners. Now, a lot of you have built great apps that are in the App Store, and you also have websites. With Smart App Banners, if someone goes to your website, Safari can optionally put up a banner letting them know about your native app in the App Store. Tapping this, so tapping that banner takes them right to the store to download your app. And if they've already installed your app and they happen to come upon your website, well, tapping on that will just switch right to your App Store app. And the website can even tell the app what the person was doing on the website, so they can pick up in the app right where they left off on the website. Really cool. We're also adding full screen supports in landscape on the iPhone to take full advantage of the large Retina display. So some great Safari features. Next up is PhotoStream. PhotoStream is one of the really nice free features in iCloud. It is the best way to get all of your photos to all of your devices, iOS devices and your Macs. And now in iOS 6, we're adding shared photo streams. Now, shared photo streams is a really easy way for you to share photos with your friends. It's really simple. Just choose the photos you'd like to share, choose the friends with whom you'd like to share them, and that's it, you're done. Your friends will receive a push notification with those photos. The photos will appear in an album right in the Photos app, and you and your friends can all even comment on the photos. In addition to iOS, shared photo streams go to your Mac with iPhoto and Aperture. You can view them in a web browser on Windows, and you can even view them on your television using Apple TV. And that is shared photo streams. Next are some great enhancements to Mail, starting with VIPs. VIP allows you to mark someone whose messages you really want to be notified about. So once you mark someone as a VIP and they send you an email, you'll get a notification right in the lock screen of that email the same way you would for a text message. It's also really easy to find messages from your VIPs when you're looking at the message list. They have a star next to them. And we've added a VIP mailbox which gathers together all of those messages from your VIPs. And for those of you who like to flag messages, we've also added a flagged mailbox as well. We've also made it really easy for you to insert photos and video right in a Compose window. And you can now open password-protected Office docs right on your iOS device. And this last one, we added a fun new animation to pull and refresh your message list. So some great features for Mail. Next up is a brand new app we're calling Passbook. Now, Passbook is the simplest way to get all of your passes in one place. There are a lot of really great apps on the App Store that are starting to put passes, boarding passes, and tickets into the apps. There are some airline apps, like this one from United, where you get your boarding pass right in the app. There are some store card apps, like this one from Starbucks, where you get the store card right in the app, and you can use it to scan and pay for your coffee. And there are some movie ticket apps, like this one, where your movie ticket goes right into the app. Now, this is great, but the problem is, when you get to the movie theater or to the airport, you have to fumble around to find the app and then find the ticket or the pass within the app. So Passbook takes all of these passes and combines them together in one place and integrates it right into the OS. And they are beautiful. Here's a movie ticket from Fandango. We've created templates to make it really easy for all of you developers to build these great passes and tickets. And it integrates right in with the lock screen. So when you get to the movie theater, your ticket automatically pops up on the lock screen. Slide across here, scan it in, go in. Let me go ahead and give you a quick demo of Passbook. All right, so here's Passbook. I've got some tickets. So here's a Fandango ticket for a movie. Again, these are beautiful. I have a nice ticket for a Giants game here. We have store cards. Here's a card for Starbucks. And again, you see it has the balance there. When you use this to scan and pay for your coffee, the balance automatically gets updated. Here's a store card for the Apple Store. We have boarding passes. Here's one for Amtrak. And here are a couple for United Airlines. And again, when we have two, we group them together. Here's a coupon for Target. Here's an express check-in card for a hotel. Now, when you're done with a card, just flip it over. There's a trash can at the top left. We had a little bit of fun with this deleting your cards. Now, as I said, this is all integrated in with the phone and with the lock screen. So if I have my phone locked, and I go to my favorite Starbucks, up comes my Starbucks card. Slide across it, brings on my card, scan, pay for my coffee, and I'm out. It's that easy. And all these cards are actually live. So if my gate changed, I just got an update for my United Airlines gate change, it comes up, I slide across here, there's my boarding pass updated, right in the app. So that is Passbook, the best way to get all of your passes, tickets together in one place. Next is guided access. We set out to make the most accessible devices of anyone for all of our customers. And we're really proud of how the accessibility community has been adopting iOS devices. Now, we've been surprised by the number of children with autism who've been flocking to our devices, especially our iPads. And we want to make that experience even better. There are a lot of great apps on the App Store, like this one, that are designed specifically for children with autism. The problem is, there are some controls, some settings and other controls in the app that you don't want the child to tap while they're using the app. So guided access allows you to just circle those controls with your finger. We'll figure out which ones you mean, and we'll disable those controls for you. The child now can use the app without accidentally hitting those. And we lock the device into a single app mode, so hitting the home button doesn't leave the app. Guided access is great. It allows children with autism to learn independently on their iPad. Now, this is great beyond children with autism. It's really single app mode, and single app mode has a lot of applications. There are a lot of schools who have been adopting iPads, and some are starting to actually administer tests on their iPads. Well, single app mode allows the teacher to lock that iPad into the test so the students can't go look up the answers in Safari. And this also works great for museums who use iPads and iPod Touches for guided tours. So single app mode and guided access. Next is Maps. In iOS 6, we have built an entire new mapping solution from the ground up, and it is beautiful. This is what Lake Tahoe looks like. We're doing all the cartography ourselves. Here's New York City, San Francisco. This is a worldwide effort. We're covering the world. Here's Italy, New Zealand, Singapore, Norway, Paris. I'm going to go through every city. The beautiful, beautiful maps. Now, part of maps is local search. You have to be able to find businesses and points of interest. And so we've already ingested more than 100 million business listings around the world to make a great local search. Once you find a business, bring up the info card, and it's beautiful. We've integrated with Yelp, so you get reviews and ratings and lots of photos right in the card. We're also building a traffic service. We have this great traffic view, so it's easy to see where the incidents are or where the slow traffic is. And on top of that, we overlay the incidents. So it's easier for you to figure out whether traffic's likely to speed up in a given location anytime soon. In addition to other data sources, we're using anonymous, real-time crowdsourced data right from our iOS users to keep this traffic fresh and up to date. We are also building in turn-by-turn navigation. It's really simple. Once you find a place you'd like to go, just tap on that Quick Route button, and you're on your way. As you're going, we'll be monitoring the traffic. We'll give you your ETA. If the traffic slows down in front of you, we'll update your ETA, and then we'll start looking to reroute you around it to find a faster route. And if we do, we'll offer it to you. And again, you're on your way around the traffic. All of this works from the lock screen as well, if you have it plugged into your car. And of course, we've integrated it with Siri, so you just ask Siri to take you somewhere, and you're on your way. You can ask questions along your route, like where can I get gas? And it'll look for convenient gas stations along your route. And of course, the kids can ask the age-old question, now, a really fun feature that we're adding to our maps is something we call flyover. We have been flying major metropolitan areas around the world in helicopters and in planes, and we've been building up a 3D photographic model of these places, and it is gorgeous. This is what it looks like on the iPhone. It looks great on the iPad. Let me just go ahead and give you a demo of our maps. All right, so here's our maps. They're all vector-based, so everything is really fast to zoom in and out. You can rotate, and we rotate all the labels. When you zoom in far enough, you'll see buildings start to appear. You can tap on a point of interest. Here's MoMA. Get the info card. Again, beautiful. Get reviews and ratings from Yelp. Lots of photos. We also do 3D. So I can zoom in and see just what MoMA looks like. Zoom out a little bit here. Sort of move around the city. Rotate around. Let me zoom back in there. Beautiful. I'll go back to 2D. We have satellite view, of course. Here's our satellite view. But what I really want to show you is flyover. So let's go ahead and choose the Transamerica Pyramid. Now, this is not a movie. This is being rendered in real time, so I can go ahead and rotate this myself. I can change the camera angle, fly through it myself. Just beautiful. Let me choose another place. How about the Sydney Opera House? And again, I can rotate this. Let's turn it so I can look back at the city. Right behind the Opera House. I'll zoom out a little bit, change the camera angle. And that is flyover. Now, the last thing I'd like to show you is turn-by-turn directions. So switch to the other device. We can't all go and get in a car and drive around, so we have a simulator of our turn-by-turn directions here. I'll go ahead and choose Coit Tower. I'll tap on the Quick Route button. It gives me 3 different options. I'll choose Route 2. Let's go ahead and start.
Starting route to Coit Tower. In 750 feet, turn right onto Greenwich Street. Turn right onto Greenwich Street, then turn left onto Grant Avenue.
Now I can watch this adaptive cinematic camera angle as we go through corners.
In 400 feet, turn left onto Grant Avenue.
When 2 turns are close together, we put both signs up for you.
In 300 feet, turn right onto Lombard Street.
See, we have the footprint of all these buildings correct.
In a quarter mile, arrive at your destination.
Now, at any point, I can get the ETA up top. It says 1 minute. The simulator's going a lot faster than you should drive in San Francisco. We'll get there faster. I can also just tap on Overview, which allows me to zoom out. I can see any part of the route at any time. Zoom in over here to sort of pan around. Or at any point, just tap to resume. You see it coming around Telegraph Hill here.
Arrived at Coit Tower.
And that is turn-by-turn directions. So a brand new mapping solution from the ground up in iOS 6. And these are only 10 of the more than 200 new user features in iOS 6. There was so much more in here. There are Game Center challenges. So now if you hit an achievement or a high score, it's easy to challenge your friends to try to beat you. We've improved the privacy controls, so you can manage whether an app has access to your contacts, calendar, or photos. We've completely redesigned the stores to make them just gorgeous and fluid and better promote your apps. We're working on made-for-iPhone hearing aids. We want the experience of people with hearing aids to be the best it's ever been on an iPhone. We've added per-account signatures in Mail. So if you have a personal mail account and a work mail account, you can have different signatures for each. We've added lost mode to Find My iPhone. So if you've lost or misplaced your iPhone or iPad, or your iPhone in this case, you can send a phone number directly to that phone, like your home phone number or your spouse's phone number. And now, if someone finds it, they can just tap on there, and it'll call that phone number back, making it that much easier for you to get your phone back. And all those features you heard about for China, for OS X, we've added all of these to iOS 6 as well. So iOS 6 is a phenomenal release for our customers. It is also an incredible release for all of our developers. We continue to strive to build the best platform on the planet for developers. There's APIs for Passkit, so all those passes you saw for Passbook are really simple to build with that API. There's a Reminders API. We have in-app content purchases. So if your app today links out, say, to iTunes to buy music that someone heard in your app, you can now sell that music right in your app with an in-app content purchase sheet. Transit apps. When building maps, we looked around and realized the best transit apps for metros, for hiking, for biking, are coming from our developers. And so instead of trying to build those ourselves, we are going to integrate and feature and promote your apps for transit right within the Maps app in iOS 6. So iOS 6 is a great release for all of our developers. And we're giving out a beta of iOS 6 to our developers today. iOS 6 will ship this fall. It'll support the iPhone 3GS and later, the second and third generation iPad, and the fourth generation iPod Touch. And that is iOS 6. Now I'd like to turn it back over to Tim. Thank you.
So what do you think? Isn't it incredible? You've seen some incredible products this morning. Let's review. The new MacBook Pro delivers extreme performance in a radically thin and light design with this stunning Retina display, the world's highest resolution display. It's the most advanced Mac we have ever built. OS X Mountain Lion, the 9th major release of the world's best desktop operating system, with iCloud and the new Notification Center, messages, dictation, Facebook integration. It's the best OS X yet. iOS 6, with 200 new features to the world's most advanced mobile operating system, with an entirely new Maps app that's incredible, Facebook integration, shared photo streams, Passbook, and much, much more. Only Apple could make such amazing hardware, software, and services. We are so proud of these products, as they are perfect examples of what Apple does best. And ultimately, it's why people choose to come to work at Apple and with Apple, to do the very best work of their lives, to create products that empower people to do great things, to make a difference in the lives of so many people around the world. The products we make, combined with the apps that you create, can fundamentally change the world. And really, I can't think of a better reason of getting up in the morning. I hope you have a fantastic week. I want to wish you the best week ever, the best conference ever. Thank you very much for coming and joining us.